As Rangers prepare to take on what could be their most crucial fixture in the early part of the season, the tension is already palpable around Ibrox. A Champions League qualifier at this stage isn't just a test of quality or organization. It's a mental battle, a financial opportunity, and above all, a statement of intent. Every season, the club enters European competition with that fire in the belly, determined to remind the continent of the power and passion that defines the Light Blues. But just as things looked like they were beginning to take shape under Russell, Martin, a major disruption, has thrown a spanner into the works. The kind of blow that comes not just unexpectedly, but at the worst possible time. Martin, who's been working tirelessly to instill structure, belief, and consistency into the squad. Since his appointment, is now being forced to revisit plans and possibly reshuffle key pieces in his lineup just days before their Champions League showdown. And we're not talking about fringe players or minor issues. This is about one of the most exciting summer arrivals, someone who was supposed to play a leading role in the opening competitive matches of the season. It's a frustrating situation, especially when everything seemed to be building towards a solid and confident European debut under the new manager. Make no mistake, the Champions League is more than just a competition. For Rangers, it's a gateway. The prize money, the prestige, the exposure, it all feeds into the club's broader ambitions of returning to the very top table of European football. And in a year where domestic expectations are already sky high, a deep European run could provide both momentum and morale. So any disruption to that mission is a serious concern. What's made things even more complicated is the nature of the setback. During a closed-door bounce game against Dunfermline, a fixture that was meant to fine-tune the squad and boost fitness levels, one of Rangers' standout signings picked up a thigh problem. This wasn't just any new recruit. This was a player signed with clear intent, someone who had been heavily featured in Martin's tactical plans and was expected to slot straight into the starting 11. After impressing in training and looking sharp in early appearances, his early exit in the friendly has sent alarm bells ringing. Initial reports suggested the injury might not be too severe, but with squad registration deadlines looming and the clock ticking towards that crucial first leg, the timing could hardly be worse. Scans are ongoing, and the club's medical staff are working around the clock to assess the extent of the problem. But Martin now faces an unwelcome dilemma. Does he gamble on the player recovering in time, or does he adapt quickly and trust? In his depth, it's a situation that could test not just his tactical flexibility, but his ability to steady the ship under pressure. And let's be honest, when you're heading into a Champions League tie, you want your best weapons fully available. It's not just this injury that's causing selection headaches either. The attacking department is already under strain. Both Cyril Desires and Hamza Egamani are still recovering. Their status is uncertain, and now with another attacking option in doubt, Rangers are looking worryingly thin in the final third. That's a concern not just in terms of goals, but in terms of structure. Martin's system demands mobility, creativity, and discipline in pressing, and the drop-off between starters and backups can be significant when you're dealing with such specific tactical requirements. However, there is some hope, and that hope comes in the form of a fresh face. A player who might now get his chance sooner than expected. Yefte Gassima, a recent signing from France, arrived at Ibrox with hunger and energy to prove himself at the highest level. The wide man completed his move earlier this week for just over £2 million and has already been training with the squad. His enthusiasm is clear. In his first interview, he didn't hold back, saying he was drawn to Rangers not just because of the club's size, but because he saw it as the perfect place to elevate his game. He spoke of the passion, the atmosphere, the chance to play European football. All of it was part of what convinced him this was the right move. And now, with the squad in need, Gassima could find himself thrown into the deep end under the lights. At Ibrox, with a European crowd urging him on. It's a big ask, no doubt. But sometimes it's these very moments that define players. If he can take this opportunity and make it count, it could be the start of something special. Away from the immediate Champions League drama, there's also movement in the transfer front. And one name that's stirring up conversation is Josh Windus. The Sheffield Wednesday forward, now 31 years old, has emerged as a serious target for a potential return to Ibrox. And it's not hard to see why. Windass has been consistently performing in the English Championship, featuring in 44 out of 46 league matches last season. a stat that speaks volumes about his fitness and reliability. He also managed to rack up 13 goals and 5 assists, showcasing that blend of end product and creativity that Martin is after. The forward knows, the club knows the pressure, and crucially knows what it takes to perform in high-stakes environments. With his versatility, capable of operating both up front and in attacking midfield, he offers tactical flexibility, something that could prove vital over a long campaign. Injury experts have even chimed in saying his medical shouldn't pose any issues, and while he might be past his physical peak, he's still got plenty left in the tank for the Scottish game. With Sheffield Wednesday facing financial pressures, Rangers could find themselves in a position to negotiate a favourable deal, one that brings both experience and depth to the attack without breaking the bank. And given the current uncertainty surrounding the health of key forwards, bringing in someone like Windass feels more like necessity than luxury. Meanwhile, another name making headlines is Mohamed Diomande. The midfielder has been one of the bright sparks in an otherwise inconsistent spell for the club, and now he's drawing serious interest from abroad. Turkish giants Besiktas have reportedly submitted a bid north of £6.5 million in an effort to lure the Ivorian away from Glasgow. But Rangers are standing firm. Martin and the board see Diomande as a central piece of their plans moving forward, especially with Nico Raskin also potentially heading for the exit door. Selling Diomande now would not only disrupt the midfield balance, but also send the wrong message about the club's ambitions. He still has 3 years left on his contract, and with his value only likely to increase, the decision to keep him feels both logical and strategic. He's shown growth, composure, and drive since arriving, and letting him go this early in the season, especially when depth is already being tested, would be a massive risk. Besiktas, by all accounts, are not giving up easily. Negotiations may continue behind the scenes, but unless there's a dramatic shift, Rangers appear committed to holding on to one of their most promising assets. It's a sign of a club that's no longer content with being a stepping stone. Under Russell Martin, the message is clear. The rebuild is on, but it won't come at the cost of sacrificing the players who can take Rangers back to the top. As we edge closer to that crucial Champions League qualifier, the pressure will only build. Every decision, every lineup choice, every tactical adjustment, it all matters. The fans know it. The players feel it. And for Russell Martin, the next few days could shape not just the European journey, but the entire trajectory of his first season at the helm. Now, with all this unfolding in the background, the next few days at Oakenhowie are going to be absolutely critical. Martin and his coaching staff will be walking a tightrope, balancing recovery times, managing player loads, tweaking tactics, and perhaps most importantly, keeping morale high. Because even in the midst of adversity, this is a squad that still believes. You can feel it in training, you can hear it in the way players speak, and you can sense it in the stands. There's a determination bubbling just beneath the surface, and the message is clear: no setback is going to define this team. That belief is vital because the challenge ahead is not a minor one. Facing Panathinaikos, especially this early in the campaign, is never going to be easy. The Greeks are battle-hardened, tactically sharp, and will arrive in Glasgow with no fear. But that's exactly the kind of opponent Rangers need at this stage. There's no hiding in Europe. You want to reach the group stages, you need to beat teams of this caliber. That's the reality, and for Martin, this tie is more than just a qualification hurdle. It's a chance to set the tone, to show supporters, players, and critics alike that this version of Rangers is serious, disciplined, and ready to evolve. There's also a psychological edge to this fixture. With Celtic once again looming large in the domestic landscape, Rangers need something early in the season to ignite that belief. Among fans, yes, but also within the squad. A strong European performance, particularly against a side like Panathinaikos, can do wonders for confidence. And more than that, it reminds the players what they're fighting for. It's not just about the glamour of Champions League nights. It's about the long-term vision, financial stability, top-tier recruitment, keeping key talents, and attracting the next wave of difference makers. European football gives you that leverage. That's why losing a key player before such a tie hurts more than usual. It's not just about his individual contribution, it's about the domino effect. It forces shifts across the pitch. You might have to pull someone out of midfield to cover a forward role. You might need to rely on younger players who haven't been tested at this level yet. And let's not forget, Rangers are still very much in the process of rebuilding. Martin hasn't had the luxury of a full year to embed his ideas. Every training session counts. Every minute of cohesion matters. So when a disruption comes, especially one involving a key starter, the whole flow gets affected. But that's where leadership comes in. And that's one area where Martin is quietly making a strong impression. He's not a manager who shouts for the cameras. He's not one to throw players under the bus or lean on excuses. Instead, he's been methodical, calm, and clear about what he wants. He's building a squad that understands the importance of adaptability. And that might just be what gets Rangers through this early storm. We've already seen flashes of that mindset. During preseason, there were moments where things didn't click, where results weren't perfect, and questions started to circle. But Martin never wavered. He used those matches to experiment, to test combinations, to see who could step up. And some players did. You look at guys like Kieran Dowell, who's been quietly effective, or young Ross McCausland, who's shown flashes of maturity beyond his years. These are players who could play unexpected roles if the injury list continues to grow. One of the most fascinating aspects of this rebuild is how Rangers are blending experienced heads with raw, hungry talent. You've got seasoned names who understand what it means to play under the Ibrox lights, and you've got new faces like Jefte Gassima who are desperate to prove themselves on a big stage. That combination can be volatile at times, but it can also be electric when it clicks. And that's what fans are waiting for, that moment where it all comes together. The pace, the pressing, the control in midfield, the clinical finishing. We've seen glimpses, but now comes the real test. When the pressure's on, when the stakes are high, can this squad deliver? One name that might be worth keeping an eye on in the next few weeks is Rıdvan Yılmaz. The Turkish fullback had a stop-start campaign last season, but has looked sharp in training and seems to be growing in confidence. With more fluid systems being employed by Martin, Rıdvan's technical ability and attacking instincts could make him a key outlet on the left. And given the defensive lapses that haunted Rangers at times last year, having a player who can contribute going forward while still holding his line at the back could be invaluable. Another potential game changer is Abdallah Simmer. The forward who had his moments last season seems to be entering this campaign with renewed focus. If he can stay fit and find consistency, his direct running and eye for goal could be exactly what Rangers need, especially in these tight European encounters. The physicality of the Scottish Premiership is one thing, but in Europe it's often about moments of individual brilliance, and Sima has that in his locker. Meanwhile, in the midfield front, the situation with Nico Raskin remains somewhat unclear. There's been chatter about an interest from clubs abroad, and while nothing concrete has emerged, the possibility of his departure lingers. Raskin's technical quality and engine make him a fan favorite, and losing him would be another significant blow, particularly if Diamand were to be sold as well. Martin will be hoping the board holds firm at least until suitable replacements are secured. Speaking of Diamande, the stance from the club has been refreshingly strong. Rejecting a bid of over £6.5 million from Besiktas shows real intent. It signals that Rangers aren't just a selling club anymore, not unless the price is right and the timing fits. Diamand has the potential to be a cornerstone of this team, and letting him go now would not only be poor strategy but also incredibly damaging to morale. The fans want to see ambition matched by action. Holding on to key assets sends the right message. Of course, transfer windows are never quiet at Ibrox. There's always speculation, always rumors, but this summer feels a bit different. There's a sense that the club is finally starting to move with purpose. Deals are being done earlier, targets are being identified with clear roles in mind. And while the squad still isn't perfect, the gaps are being addressed. The signing of Gassima is a perfect example of this new approach. Young, technical, hungry, and with experience at a top academy, he fits the profile of a modern winger. If Martin can mold him quickly, he could be one of the bargains of the window. And if injuries force him into the spotlight early, he'll have the chance to prove it right away. The next week will tell us a lot. Not just about the players, but about the manager, the system, and the spirit of the squad. European nights at Ibrox have a way of revealing character. The noise, the intensity, the pressure. It's a cauldron. And if Rangers can navigate this storm and come through stronger, it could be the catalyst for a truly memorable season. Because at the end of the day, this is what being at Rangers is all about. Facing adversity, rising above it, and proving once again that Ibrox is not just a stadium, it's a fortress. A place where legends are made and where belief can carry you further than anyone expects. Before we continue, make sure to subscribe to our channel and turn on notifications to get all the exclusive news about Rangers FC. Don't overlook any details about your beloved team. It's crucial for Rangers FC fans. Whispers are growing louder in both sides of the border as the future of England's shot-stopper Aaron Ramsdale becomes the center of a brewing transfer tussle. With Rangers and Leeds United reportedly circling, insiders suggest that the Ibrox side may be leading the race, and not just financially. It's no secret Ramsdale has endured a frustrating spell as Arsenal's number 2, watching from the sidelines after initially arriving as the club's first choice. With Euro 2024 now behind him and his stock still high, the 26-year-old is said to be keen on a fresh challenge, somewhere he can play, lead, and resurrect his trajectory. That's where Rangers come into the picture. Sources close to the situation claim Ramsdale has a strong preference for the Glasgow Giants, seeing the Scottish Premiership as a perfect platform to reignite his career while playing in Europe and in front of one of the most passionate fan bases in football. Leeds, ambitious, under Daniel Farke and eyeing a return to the Premier League, are also keen. Their project is attractive, their backing solid, but Ramsdale, it said, isn't just after money or a big market. He wants silverware. He wants nights under the lights at Ibrox. While nothing is official, murmurings within Rangers corridors suggest there's cautious optimism. Negotiations are believed to be at an early stage, but the fact that Ramsdale is open to a move north, some say even wants it, has only fanned the flames. The potential move would be a major statement for Rangers, who've already shown ambition in the transfer market this summer. Bringing in a keeper of Ramsdale's caliber could be the final piece of the puzzle for a side desperate to wrest the title back from Celtic. Whether the deal materializes or not, one thing's certain: the blue half of Glasgow is dreaming big. And if the rumors are to be believed, so is Ramsdale. Greetings, fans. Make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel, as it's greatly appreciated by Rangers FC. And don't forget to share your thoughts on the news in the comments section below. Until the next video, stay tuned.